I'm solo. It's Thursday, July 14th. My dad was just on NPR the first time ever. He'll be joining us. I was just listening live. He literally just wrapped up. I think I can bring him in. I saw he just popped in here. Pops, you ready? Oh, he added himself, folks.
I got the power.
Oh, did you say, Dad?
I have the power to add myself.
You really do. I'm so proud of you. That was so good, Dad.
I didn't get to hear it. I only got to participate in it. But
You
I'm on the
crushed
wrong
it, man.
side. I'm on
Here, all
whatever.
All right.
Yeah. There we go.
Pops, so proud of you. Again, literally, my dad was just on NPR. I put the link in the chat. We'll post it all on our social and everything. First time that's ever happened to us, Dad. I'm so proud of you. You did so good. So many text messages were sent while you were on there. So read them after we get off the show, okay?
Well, thank you. I hope I made us all proud.
Yeah, you did. You made the YAA community proud. Now, Dad, on the show, you were talking to Brian Moody, who's actually the executive editor over at Auto Trader, talking about how difficult it is to buy a car. We actually, and I should just mention, you dropped so many knowledge bombs on that show. Like, you had all the data ready, the Vroom lawsuit in Texas. You had the $67,000 average transaction price for EVs. You killed it, man. And yeah, you are famous now. Look at you.
I've got a photographic memory.
Oh man.
Well,
should we jump?
May I say one thing? I know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I spent 45 years in this damn industry. I have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and I tend to retain facts and information, and I tend to, share those facts and that information, and so be it. I mean, I wasn't trying to drop truth nuggets. I was just trying to tell the truth.
You did a damn good job. Let's look at some of the latest data, Dad, because that's what we like to do. We actually got some new information from Cox Automotive, the amount of inventory that's out there, and most importantly, the different types of inventory that are out there. I know you didn't get a chance to talk about this in that interview that you were just a part of, or that discussion that you were just a part of, Dad, but it reinforces why we're seeing the lack of affordable vehicles. There's no inventory of them. I thought we'd look through some of these numbers. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
All right, Pops. So inventory levels have held steady at 1.12 million new cars in supply, supposedly a 38 days supply. We all know this also includes in-transit vehicles, so that's why it looks like there's more cars for sale than there actually is. We know the on-hand supply, for example, for Toyota is actually 1.5 days worth of inventory, and even that might be a bit of a stretch.
Yes.
When we jump down here, where was it? 75,000 inventory. Yeah, so here you go. For the same period in 2020, inventory stood at 2.65 million vehicles for a 70-day supply. In 2019, it was 3.73 million vehicles for an 86-day supply. Dad, if I'm not mistaken, you were literally just sharing this on the radio, how that was the distinction or the delta in inventory levels.
Yes, I did just share that that we've been operating on with an on-hand inventory, an alleged on-hand inventory of 1 to 1.1 million vehicles, and that 3 years ago that number was 4 million, or right around 4 million, and that yes, manufacturers and dealers have grown to like having less inventory while producing fewer vehicles. And that my theory, that you've heard me enumerate any number of times, is that I would suspect going forward that the average on-hand inventory will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million vehicles. And may I say one thing? Okay.
Please.
I don't know if you noticed, I'm wearing a collared shirt. Okay. The reason I'm wearing a collared shirt is I appeared on the radio. Now, I don't know why I was thinking anybody would be able to see that I was wearing a collared shirt when I was on the radio. But I just wanted to prove the point that I'm not nearly as smart as I would like to believe that I am.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, so let's look at more of the data, because it gets interesting. We start to break down the amount of inventory of non-luxury versus luxury vehicles. Non-luxury inventory totaled 936,867 units of non-luxury new cars for sale entering July, supposedly, again, a 37-day supply. That's actually up about 100,000, 90,000 units from the month prior. That's a good sign. We need more new affordable vehicles. Affordable is being redefined, though. The average transaction price for a non-luxury vehicle was $43,000 last month. So how affordable really is it? Luxury inventory stood at 179,981 units. That is up from 138,000 units. That is luxury stood at, at the start of July compared to. So luxury is up as well. Not nearly as much, but it is up considerably.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to break it down, let's come down here. Where was it? Stellantis. They are bucking the trend. Stellantis brands are at the top end of the inventory spectrum. In fact, Dodge, Ram, and Ram inventories are high even compared with pre-COVID levels and before the chip shortage. Supposedly, Dodge closed June with a 90-day supply of inventory. I am not buying that. Are you?
I'm sure that number is somewhat exaggerated, but based on the deals that seem to be out there, and they seem to be primarily on Stellantis products, I would say that their inventory levels must be higher than everybody else's. And if you remember correctly, when we were looking at average incentives, Stellantis, their average incentive was like $1,893 per car, something along those lines, which was the highest in the industry. Well, you wouldn't need to do that if you didn't have higher inventory levels.
You're spot on. And obviously, it's very clear that Stellantis has the most inventory, the most negotiable prices. And if you are going into a Stellantis dealership, so a Dodge, a Ram, an Alfa Romeo dealership, a Jeep dealership, and they say, oh, nope, it's supply shortages, we got to charge you this $5,000 markup. No, they are one of the few manufacturers where that's not flying. Jeep supposedly has a 61-day supply of inventory. So Stellantis is where the inventory is. Yeah.
We should tell people to take this article with them when they go to their local Stellantis branded dealerships and as I like to say, whip that son of a gun out when they start telling you, no, we need $5,000 over. Boom. No, you don't. And here's why. No, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like, this is why you can't charge a market adjustment. You guys don't need to charge the market adjustment. Your peers do, however. They don't need to, let me be very clear, but your peers have a better case. On the opposite end, Asian non-luxury brands and European luxury brands had the lowest inventories. Non-luxury brands with the lowest inventories were Kia, Toyota, Honda, Subaru, and Hyundai. Luxury brands with the lowest inventories were Land Rover, Lexus, Porsche, and BMW. Mercedes-Benz was in a better supply situation, which allowed it to surpass BMW in sales. Interestingly, Dad, Mercedes-Benz is transacting at anywhere from 6 to 9% over MSRP on average last month, yet they have better inventory levels than their competitors, BMW, Lexus, Porsche. Mercedes-Benz, if you're buying a Mercedes-Benz right now, you're getting taken to the, I hate to say it, you're getting taken to the cleaners. You're paying over MSRP when in reality, they're not feeling the pinch as badly as some of the other brands are.
You couldn't have spoken it better.
Thank you, Pops.
You're welcome.
In contrast, luxury brands with the highest inventories were Volvo, Audi, Lincoln, Buick, and Infiniti. There you go. There's some distinction for what brands fall into the luxury category. Dad, when you start to break down...
Now, that's funny. Yeah. If I may say one thing, that's funny, because having spoken to Chip and the group that he works for, they do have some Infiniti stores, and they can't get inventory. It's like Infiniti is no longer producing cars as far as they're concerned. They're having the toughest time ever getting Infinitis. So maybe it's more regionalized. And some of those regions have an extremely high Infiniti inventory levels, and others have a lower one, but on a national average, it makes it look like Infiniti has inventory.
Could be that. Also could be the in-transit vehicles that are in transit. And who knows when they actually are going to arrive. Again, Cox actually counts that as in inventory vehicles as part of the day's supply, which we all know is not the reality. None of your business, Dad says. Dealers are swapping new cars, putting miles on them, and then selling them as used. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, especially with Ford products, because as you remember, if you're a Ford dealer and you're selling something over MSRP, that's a tisk on your wrist. But
Yes.
you make it a used car and you sell it for market value, that's not such a bad thing. So yeah, we are absolutely seeing dealerships do that. You mentioned that on the NPR show that you were on, that you're seeing a lot of 3-year-old used cars sell for the same amount as comparable or as the original MSRP, for example.
Yes.
Let's break this down, Dad, by powertrain. This is the first time we've ever had days supply of inventory broken down by powertrain. Let me zoom in just for a second. Your your x-axis is going to show you the days supply of inventory. Okay, so each what's that called? What's that part called?
Line.
Each line.
Line of demarcation. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Each line represents 10 days of supply. The vehicles by powertrain that have the least days supply are hybrid and alternative energy vehicles, less than a 20-day supply. You can't be shocked to see that.
No, not at all.
Then you obviously have your mid-size cars, compact cars. Can't be surprised to see those, because if we look at the used car data, we see the highest pressure on these 3 categories of vehicles. Minivans continue to appreciate, and they have less than a 25 days supply. Then you get into full-size compact crossovers. Those have about a 30-day supply of inventory. Subcompact cars, supposedly, Dad, have over a 30-day supply. I can't believe that, because no one's even making them anymore.
And they're the most affordable of all the cars. So you would think those would attract the most attention. And I think that day supply is strongly influenced by in transit and not actually on the ground or on hand, because probably 90 to 95% of all those that are in transit have somebody's name associated with them, because they've left a deposit to reserve that incoming vehicle.
Pop Skilled Cat Lux says, I can definitely hear your collared shirt. It makes intelligent sounds. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And JNLW says, you guys need a primetime national network show so people who don't watch YouTube can see this content. Hopefully we get invited back. Pops, you get invited back to NPR so that more people can hear from you. Again, you dropped so many knowledge bombs. It was incredible. It was really awesome to hear you drop the stats. I was very proud of you.
Well, one of our comments on the YouTube channel was somebody said we need to be on CNBC. I said I agree, but apparently they do not.
Yeah, I think unfortunately you're right about that. All right, Dad, let's look at some of the other data here. Of the 30 highest selling models in the 30 days ended June 27th, so last month, Toyota, Kia, and Hyundai models dominated the low end of inventories. The lowest were the Toyota Corolla, Kia Telluride, Toyota Camry, Hyundai, Palisade, and Kia Sportage. Of the top 30 selling models in the last 30 days, domestic trucks and SUVs had the most inventory, starting with the Ram 1500 at a 79-day supply, Ford Escape with a 69-day supply, Jeep Compass, Ford F-150, and Chevrolet Silverado. The importance of being educated going into this experience. You could show up at the Ram dealership and they're going to say, we need to charge you a market adjustment. And you're going to say, no, because I know this one's been sitting on your lot for X months and you have more incoming inventory. This is the importance of understanding essentially where to go and knowing what the inventory levels are.
Absolutely. And like I say, people should print this article out and take it with them, so that they because let's face it, dealers operate when they're talking to their customers on the news that's going on today. And everybody knows that there's a shortage of cars. So every dealer is going to play to that point. Well, if you can say to them, hey, yeah, lots of dealers can, but you guys can't, then, maybe, just maybe, when you slap them in the face with that printed article, they'll go, okay, yeah, you're right. Because if there's a 79-day supply of Ram 1500 trucks, you shouldn't be paying over MSRP. You shouldn't be paying MSRP. You should be paying somewhere between invoice and MSRP, plus any Stellantis incentives that they might have out there for consumers on top of that. So there are brands where deals could be had. Now, what do I say, for instance, when there used to be 0% interest for cars? The reason a particular model has 0% interest offered on it is because there's zero interest in the car. Well, the reason that they have a 79-day supply of those trucks is because there's less interest in those trucks than in other brands of trucks. So you need to know that going in. Now, there could very well be a reason that there's less interest. Maybe there's a model changeover coming, or maybe it's proven over time to be less dependable than some other vehicles, whatever it may be. But you need to know that before you go in and start looking at those vehicles.
Perfect example of how you can be more knowledgeable heading in. It's not just about us on the screen or anything. It's the platform. It's the community. This is from a month ago, posted in the Success Stories channel of our community forum. 2022 Ram 1500 for thousands off MSRP. I spent weeks looking for a Ram 1500 Laramie, could not find exactly what I was looking for anywhere within 100 miles of my home. Finally, I decided to see about a custom build, went to the Ram website and ended up falling in love with the Ram 1500 limited 10th anniversary edition, called multiple dealers in a 100-mile radius and asked for the price on their build. Pretty much all of them were at over MSRP, but one dealer had an invoice promotion under MSRP. Thinking it was too good to be true, I made the 70-mile drive to sit with the dealer face-to-face. The salesman was courteous and friendly, as you would expect, but gave me a vibe that he was actually an honest person. We sat down with the manager and built my truck. The MSRP was $72,510. With their promotion and sales price, ended up being $66,642, paying nearly $6,000 off of MSRP. Goes on to talk about what happened in the F&I office and all that fun stuff. It's out there, gang. It's out there. You just have to be able to do a little bit. Honestly, you don't even have, you have to tune into our daily shows. Like, that's the way to do it. And here you go, space right here. Ram 1500 at 12 to 13% off MSRP, easy today. Pops, I hope they invite you back on the NPR, because more people simply need to have the information to make informed decisions, and then they're saving thousands of dollars.
Exactly. And you know, I tried my best to share as much positive information as I could with people that I could. And the best part for me was that one woman who called in and said, well, she was able to get a car because, well, her friend's elderly mother passed away. And Annie asked me, well, what do you think? I said, well, we've been telling people that for the longest time, to check the obituaries. You know, it's a sad but true way to save some money. The estates are not interested in making as much money off the sale of those vehicles as say car dealers are.
Pops, let's pull back up a few more pieces from this Cox Automotive article. Of the 30 highest selling models, which account for the bulk of vehicle sales in the US, the 14 models with the lowest inventories were from Asian automakers: Toyota Corolla, Honda Accord, Toyota RAV4, Kia Forte, and Toyota Camry. Of the 30 top selling models, full-size trucks, including the Ram 1500, Silverado, F-150, also higher at the higher end were the Escape and Explorer SUVs. In terms of price categories, the lower the price, generally, the lower the supply. Price categories under $40,000 had a day's supply of 30 or less. The price segments between $40,000 and $50,000 had inventory in the low 40 days supply, and $60,000 or above vehicles had 50 days supply. When you look at this chart, again, broken down by type of segment or segment of vehicle, uber luxury cars have the highest days supply of inventory right now, followed by full-size cars, luxury cars, high-end luxury cars, sports cars, luxury compact cars, and full-size pickup trucks. This is the wrong picture we've painted. It is essentially the manufacturers, automakers' money grab has worked. They've allocated those chips towards the vehicles that make them the most money, and you have to fight to find yourself in a position where you're not paying grossly over MSRP for a new vehicle that's, you know, not an uber luxury car.
Exactly. The manufacturers control what consumers will be able to buy because of how they allocate their parts supplies and their chip supplies. And they realize, since they have a fiduciary responsibility to their stockholders, to their investors, to maximize their income when they can't necessarily maximize their production, that they have to allocate those chips to the vehicles that are going to bring them the biggest profit margin. So I get why they do it. It's just they're they're shrinking the market as to who they can sell cars to. They have taken the average person out of the marketplace because there are no cars for them. And then when there are cars in the $20,000 to $30,000 MSRP range, and they're in such short supply, the dealers are tacking on $5,000 to $7,500 in additional dealer markup. So the people that can afford to pay the least are getting stuck the most, and it's really an unfortunate situation.
It's from EJ Gundock. Got shown the door at a dealer on Tuesday because I refused to accept dealer add-ons, low jack, and paint protection on a factory order. They wouldn't let me order without it. Thanks to you guys, I left. Pops, what is likely going to be the next tattoo I get? It's probably going to say something like on the RO for the PDI.
No dealer installed accessories. And that's just a choice that a dealer makes. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that there isn't a dealer of that brand out there somewhere that wouldn't be more than happy to accept selling you the vehicle at MSRP and not force you to buy things that have yet to be installed on it. That's just individual dealer greed, and there are dealers out there that don't necessarily subscribe to that way of doing business. So it's, as a consumer, you have to keep searching those type of dealers out. As an organization, we have to hope that we can crowdsource enough dealer reviews to make it easier for you to find those type of dealers.
Yeah, and let's actually take a moment to touch on that and also the used car market. We have started to see some softening on the wholesale side, so hopefully we see used car prices start to come down just a little bit as well. You mentioned dealer reviews, Dad. We updated it last weekend. If you would like to leave a review for a dealer, go to joinyaa.com, go to resources, click on leave a review. We are up to 2,065 dealer reviews every day. More folks are coming here and they're saying, hey, I haven't purchased yet, but I tried to buy from, 97008, put the zip code in. I tried to purchase from Beaverton Kia, and I was trying to purchase a Kia, whatever, you get the gist of it. Come in here, leave the review. Then under resources, click on dealer reviews. This is actually going to show you the map that you can then filter by different dealerships. So has the dealership been reviewed? What state is it in? What brand? Do they charge MSRP or not? You can come in here and you can start to find a dealership. We're going to look at, once it loads, Team Toyota. 0 out of 10 would recommend. So probably not the dealership we want to work with, but then you can click on view current inventory.
Can I ask you a silly question?
All the cars sold at View. Yeah, go ahead.
Just do you have to be a premium member?
No, this is
YAA
all
to access
free.
this. What was that again?
And we are moving away. I want more stuff to be free. This market is so terrible. I want more stuff that we do to be free. We'll figure out ways to make money. I'm not concerned about that. I want more stuff to be free. Anyway, use the dealer reviews, use the listings. And then on the listings, what I'm really proud of, Dad, no ads. You're coaching people on what the out the door price is going to be. Like it's here's your extended warranty quote. So when they tell you it's $5,000, anyway, I'll get off of that pedestal or off that high horse for a moment. Pops, we're hearing in the chat, Volvo dealerships, they have inventory. Yes, this goes back to just making the right selection about the vehicle that you're going to buy. Ambar letting us know, yeah, Subaru and Mazda dealers, they don't have inventory. The information that you're seeing in these articles, it can be easily corroborated by taking a ride down, Automobile Row.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're somewhat flexible as to make or model or color or trim level, there are still vehicles to be had, and there are still deals that can be found. So you just have to retain your flexibility. Do your yoga every day, and you'll be in a better position when you go to buy your next vehicle.
Pops, how about we do, if you're game for it, let's talk a little bit about the used car market, and let's actually just immediately put stuff to the test. We've got a few vehicles that I've been tracking back in my joinyaa.com account. So let me pull that up on the screen, and let's run new values again. We updated literally all 3 of these cars yesterday. So you can get free and you can track these values whenever you want, just create your free account. Let's run Justin's Hyundai Ioniq 5 again. 60,284. Stayed the same, so hasn't changed. Let's check the Subaru Forester, 39,144. Stayed the same, hasn't changed. Stayed the same, hasn't changed. So there you go. Evidently, our algorithm hasn't updated, so I can't make a point as to whether used car values are coming down or not.
Well, do my buddy, do you need the VIN number to do this?
I do. For valuation, you need the VIN number.
Well, I have it somewhere, but I don't have it because
Your buddy Lee.
Because I do have it. I made him give it to me when I got him an offer from Carvana that was beat by CarMax by $1,600. So
wow. We got a question here from Arturo in the chat. He said, why doesn't the YA valuation line up with Black Book? Black Book is going to give you a trade-in value, a private party value, and one other value, which we can put in a second. The YA valuation is the market value, like what we expect the dealership's going to turn around and try and sell it for. So we're trying to give you the information of like how much it ultimately actually is worth versus how much, you should imagine you're going to get for a trade-in.
Nicely stated.
That's what you say. Yeah, thank you, Pops. Yeah. I was looking for that.
Yes.
All right. How about we switch gears and let's do a quick, really, you've got to be kidding me? How's that sound?
Yeah, I was on NPR. Really? You got to be kidding me.
Really? You got to be kidding me.
All right, so this week we've talked a lot on this show and also back on the YAA channel about car dealers adding subscriptions to their vehicles. Now, we are very disappointed at BMW saying, hey, for $18 or $15 a month, you can subscribe to the heated seats in your cars. We're very disappointed with GMC and with Buick coming out and saying, hey, you want to buy one of our cars, you have a mandatory 3-year subscription to OnStar. Well, Dad, I thought I'd bring a little levity to the situation. Let me share this automotive news article up on the screen, published just 2 hours ago. Key Audi, Porsche, Bentley EVs delayed by VW Group's software woes. Electric flagship cars from Audi, Porsche, and Bentley face delays in their launches because of problems at VW Group's Cariad unit. Essentially, Dad, these automakers who are trying to become software companies to then sell us subscriptions, really, you got to be kidding me that you're doing it, but also they're running into problems that are further exacerbating the inventory shortages that we're experiencing. You can't be too surprised, can you?
Maybe they didn't pay for the subscriptions for their software to work. Maybe they were refusing to make those payments. Who knows? I understand at the age of 71 that computers and software have made everybody's life, including mine, a lot more interesting and in many cases a lot more entertaining. But there should be a limit to how much we depend on software in our lives. Okay, it doesn't need to necessarily control whether or not the steering wheel on my car heats up when I want it to, or that the seats heat up when I want them to. The stuff should be built into the car and it should just be done with it. And if they're not at the point where they've perfected this software so that it can work, then don't include it in the vehicles until you have perfected it.
The timing of all this is crazy, Dad, because we're in this obvious vehicle shortage. Everyone knows it.
Yes.
It's no secret. Consumers know it all the way to the executive ranks at the OEM. Why are we trying to innovate so much when there's such an issue of just getting affordable cars on the road? That to me is you got to be kidding me. Like, you're in this environment where if you came out and you just produced cheaper vehicles or just produced vehicles, period, you'd be like an unsung hero in to the consumer. Instead, you're trying to figure out ways to get more software into cars so you can charge subscriptions for it to push us down even more. What? Think about the optics. Think about the timing.
They don't care about the optics. What they care about is the additional income that they can generate, and it's income that ultimately it costs them less to be able to generate it. Once they've established that software, the cost is done. Okay, and so they can turn around and charge subscriptions for that software.
Yeah.
It's just an added revenue stream.
We're running it back.
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
This is from Cody. Ray and Zach waited 2.5 months for my Subaru Outback Wilderness. Then at 4,000 miles on the odometer, they have to pull the engine out to fix an upper oil pan leak, and it's in the shop. Now, this sounds eerily reminiscent, Dad, of Josh's story that we covered on our Saturday night stream over on the YAA channel. We are hearing, and JD Power measures this, there are more reliability issues in new cars right now than previously. And that is a direct result of vehicles sitting around waiting for parts not being produced in the ways that they typically have been. I am devastated to hear that, but man, that's you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate situation. And other things that have led to that is the worker shortage in a lot of these assembly facilities due to COVID and other issues, so that the quality of the manufacturing has gone down over the past 2 years, as opposed to it going up.
Two things. I got a promo before we're getting out of here. We have added, if you go to the website under coverage, auto insurance, you put in your zip code here. I'll do our old zip code because I'm not going to go through the whole flow. You can actually now get competitive quotes from different auto insurance carriers all through YAA. Pops, you actually did this the other day. I know you ended up getting a quote from Liberty Mutual that was cheaper than your current Geico coverage. Safeco, which is Liberty Mutual. Yeah. Have you decided what you're going to do? Are you switching or are you sticking? Doesn't matter to me. I'm just curious.
I continue to think about it, and I really haven't decided yet. I'm old school, so I have a certain amount of loyalty to Geico. Because let's face it, your sister has had any number of accidents in the vehicle that she had that was insured under our Geico policy. And they took care of those accidents quickly. There were never any issues, and they really didn't raise our rates too dramatically because of those accidents. So I feel a certain sense of loyalty. And loyalty is almost a thing of the past in this country, but I'm hard pressed to change so I can save $60 a year. I know what I've got with Geico. I know how they've treated us. I remember when we drove to our cousins on Thanksgiving, and you had a giant bubble in your tire, and they came out on Thanksgiving to change the tire for you. I haven't forgotten that, and so.
It's all good, Pops. It's all good. I'm not putting you on the spot here. I will mention there's a conversation going on in the chat right now about essentially jailbreaking your BMW so that you can get heated seats without having to pay them. Pops, you realize, and we'll have to spend more time talking about this at a future date. It's just like with our phones, like the hardware is there to be able to do things. You're then restricting someone from accessing it. You're just opening up hackers and jailbreakers to essentially. So it's an interesting conversation going on in the chat right now.
Oh, can I tell you one other thing? I even shaved for my radio appearance today.
You're funny.
Chips ahoy! Chips ahoy!
I wanted to prove that I had the perfect face for radio.
Final plug, and then we're calling it a day. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, Pops, I won't be able to do the show tomorrow, so I'll see if Phil or Kimberly can join you. I'm heading up to New York for the day, so I won't be able to do the show. Sorry, guys, I won't be here. But I will plug it very quickly. We are still doing the $150 promotion off on extended warranties, vehicle service contracts, mechanical breakdown insurance in the state of California. Just get a free quote back on the joinyaa.com website, whether you buy it from us or not. Get a quote and negotiate with whomever else you're working with, but don't negotiate with us because we only make $500. And while we're running the promotion, we only make $350. We can't go down any lower. Pops, congrats again on being on NPR for the first time ever. I am very proud of you. I was nervous over here for you. You did a fantastic job. We'll be posting the link to listen to his performance. It'll be a podcast later on. We'll be posting that on social media. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff so we can share. We'll share it even here on YouTube. Congrats again, Dad.
Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate it. It was really great fun to share my wisdom and knowledge with the 3 people in Columbus, Ohio who were listening.
I love you, Dad. I'll talk to you later.
You got it. See you, everybody. We'll be back here again tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, with more news that you can use from YAA. See you tomorrow, everybody.